I literally got replaced by AI, while still leveraging AI. So even at this level, there might be possibility you get replaced. Since then I made over $6,000 because of one message. One follow-up message that took me 2 minutes to send. I put so many hours, I put so much effort,
Yep.
and like still nothing. I still couldn't do shit. If there is a problem I face, and I turn to Hassan, he will find the answer for me.
That's true.
He doesn't bombard me with 10 questions every single day,
Yep.
asking about stuff. He just figures out everything on his own.
Because after every argument, they tell me, no, this is not gonna work out, you're not doing anything. I'm like, and they tell me, focus on school, do this just on the side. I was like, okay, I was turning it around. So basically what they're telling me is to not pay attention to school and just work harder on this. Right? That's really good. And then I just started doing the exact opposite. Bro, it was always so funny. Like, so let's say to reach your level and higher, what mindset traits does a copywriter need to have?
Friendship. I had to sacrifice my best friends at the time to get to the next level. My first project was for $200. It took me 8 months. Actually 9 for my first client. And I'm sending 30 emails a day. The same outreach template.
Yep.
Yeah, this was like the golden routine.
You're currently making how much?
Okay.
Well, look who we have here, bro. Matthew, good to have you. Last time I saw you, it was, 2 weeks ago? We spent like a week in Switzerland,
about
bro.
2 weeks ago.
With some crazy mountain views, guys. If you haven't watched the vlog from Switzerland with Matthew, then also his vlog, bro, I'm gonna link your YouTube channel below. If you haven't watched both of the vlogs, go watch them right now. We spent a week in Switzerland. And realistically, we should have recorded the interview in Switzerland. But, bro, I don't know what happened. Did we just like, I don't know, we got too caught up with the hotels and everything, I guess.
With content and stuff.
It's tough. But anyways, we're sitting here right now, bro. We're ready for this interview. And guys, if you don't know Matthew, I mean, you should know him, right? He's my student. He's also in my team. He's also part of my team. And he's basically become like a partner to me over the last 1 year or so.
About 1 year, yes.
About 1 year, yes, bro. So it's been a while. Good to have you here. And I believe we can just immediately get started with this. If you don't have anything to say before we start, do you have anything?
Not really. Let's just get into it.
Okay, perfect, bro. So I'm gonna start with the first broad question about your journey, right? You know how this goes. So I want to ask you, you're currently making how much? 3 to 5K per month?
3 to 5K per month, yes.
3 to 5K per month. Okay, bro, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I want to ask you, how did you go? You're also 19, soon turning 20?
Yep.
Okay.
In about 6 months.
In about 6 months. Okay, bro. For your birthday, we got to do something crazy. But leaving that aside, bro, how did you go from zero, obviously, right, to making 3 to 5K a month at 19? Did you start copywriting at 18?
I started at 16, actually.
Oh, you started at 16?
Yes.
Oh my
I
God,
started on September 1st, 2022.
I started
my
November.
Birthday.
Bro, you started before me.
Yeah, I know. And my birthday is on 15th of September, so I was still 16 when I first started out. Currently I'm 19.
That's
So it's a 2.5 year journey. And yeah, as I mentioned, I started at Hassan University on September 1st, 22 with a friend of mine. Okay. I decided to pursue copywriting because that's what the quiz said. Do you remember the old quiz?
The quiz, do you have money to invest? No. Okay, copywriting. That's about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the learning stage has begun, right? I finished the academy about 1 month later, and I started outreaching. Okay. And again, the OGs are gonna remember like streak, sending 30 emails a day, the same outreach template.
Yep.
Yeah, this was like the golden routine to land your first client.
And Hassan University. Yep.
Absolutely, yes. Now it has changed a bit, just a little bit.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And for any questions regarding outreach that you guys might have, you guys have Alan here. Here is the boss when it comes to outreach.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So 8 months outreaching. It took me 8 months. Actually 9 for my first client. Oof. And I wanted to give up so many times. I made my big breakthrough in May 2023.
Okay.
So about 9 months later.
Yep.
And I had to hit rock bottom before finding my first client, right?
Okay, can you
So in
expand
fact, I
on
found,
that, bro?
yes, I will.
Okay.
So in fact, I found 2 clients in just 1 week after hitting the rock bottom. And the rock bottom was, bro, I remember it like yesterday. I remember sitting at this exact desk. Here's my monitor.
Okay.
I was sitting here. I was sending cold emails, follow-ups, and at some point, just something just broke inside in my head. I was pursuing copywriting for 9 months. I've
Yep.
tried so hard. I put so many hours. I put so much effort,
Yep.
and like still nothing. I still couldn't do shit, right?
Yeah, I get you, bro.
So at some point, I just totally broke. I turned to my old game. I started playing
Oh.
7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Bro, what game did you
like
play?
a few days. World of Tanks. Some people might know it.
Oh my, bro. Isn't
Yeah.
isn't this like an online game?
Yeah, it is.
It is. Oh shit.
I used to play it when I was like from the ages of 12 to 16.
Yeah, bro. I remember
Oh,
seeing
it's-
these ads, like these, for, when you're searching the web, and then there's like these
Yes.
ads that pop up on the side.
Yeah.
Bro, that was where World of Tanks was popping up, and I was like, oh, this game is a scam.
Yeah,
I
it
never
was.
even played
It was.
it.
That was the game. That was the game.
Oh no. Okay.
And it felt so great, I
Yeah.
haven't played for 9 months, and finally somebody needed me. Like my team, somebody needed me. I was actually good at the game. It gave me some nice dopamine, some feel of achievement.
Yeah, because you
Cool.
didn't get it from like copywriting
Yes,
because you didn't land the client.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then I realized after like a few days, 2-3 days of playing every single day for 10 hours,
Yep.
I realized that I cannot give up. I
Okay.
can't. It took me. I put 9 months. 9 months of effort
Yep.
into copywriting. I can't just give up.
That's true.
Like I
I mean,
cannot
bro,
become that goofy geek. I can't.
You're 17, like you're 16, 17.
I
9
was
months is
17
basically like a big part of your life at that age.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes. So after another gaming session,
Yeah.
yes, I realized that I can't become that guy, that loser who is just playing computer games and have nothing going on about his life.
Okay, good.
So I had a small network of about 5 to 6 people. I decided to finally do something about my life. I decided to finally change something, right? I reached
Yep.
out to my brothers.
Okay.
I analyzed the situation. I analyzed what I can do that guarantees making money. I
Yep.
reached out. I asked for feedback. I hopped on a few calls. And then boom, 1 week later, 2 clients. 2 clients, man. 2 clients. My first project was for $200.
Yeah.
It was
Bro, same for me.
14 email welcome sequence. I
14
remember.
emails for 200
Yes,
bucks.
14 emails for 200. Yes.
I mean, bro, you gotta start somewhere.
Yes, exactly. You gotta start something with something. That was my first project. But I lost the clients as quickly because I was just trash. My coding skills was absolutely trash. I mean, I was outreaching. The only thing I was doing was just outreaching with the same template
Sounds familiar, bro.
for 8 months, right?
Sounds
So I
familiar.
didn't develop any useful skills.
Yep.
And then the next few months just kind of passed by. I didn't really know what happened and what I was doing during that period. But I
Okay.
remember landing my first client in September. And that's when I decided to join for the academy.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
okay.
September 2023, I joined for the academy. And basically the whole circle repeated itself. I started learning in September. I haven't been really outreaching for the next 4 months because I was solely focused on improving my skills. I mean, I had a client at the time, so I was at around $400, $500 to maybe $1,000 a month
That's pretty
at
good.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in my opinion, still nothing.
I mean, it is nothing, but like,
Yes.
when you're like 17
Yeah.
and you're making money, like, it feels like quite a bit.
I was 18.
Oh, you're 18, okay.
at the time. Yes.
Fair.
And then I unfortunately lost the client. I mean, sometimes you just lose clients, right?
That's true. And it's not always necessarily your fault as well.
Yeah, sometimes there's this principle.
Yep.
Squeeze the... what was it called? It's something about like squeezing the most amount of money that you can from a client.
Oh, I know this.
You have to understand. You have to understand that no client will stay forever.
True.
Right?
True.
Squeeze them dry. That was the saying. Squeeze them dry. I remember.
Bro, this sounds evil, but it's true.
It does, but it's true, right? It's business.
No, it is.
So-
Because I remember, just to cut you off a bit here, my bad. Like the first client I landed was also $200 project, right? And then I did lose the client in a week, just like you said. So it's basically the same thing, right? I lost the client in a week because I write the landing page and then he implements it on his like software or whatever. He was using WordPress, and 1 week later, I asked him, hey man, like what have been the results? You know, I want to make sure that everything is like working well. And he wasn't the type of guy who usually checks results, but it was like, can you actually check them for me, right? Just so I know. And then he sends me the screenshot of the results, and he's like, not looking good. And then everything is just like red, bro. Everything is red, like fucking arrows downwards on every single statistic. And I'm like, oh crap. I was still 16. I think I was still 16, yeah. And bro, I was about to cry. And then I just lose the client. But okay, obviously that's my fault. And then it was your fault with your first client. But sometimes you get a client, everything is going realistically well. I've worked with clients who was absolutely crushing it for them. You know, they were happy. I was happy with the results. And then just suddenly, out of nowhere, something happens on their side. Maybe, I don't know, bad month in the business, right? For some reason, or they have more expenses. They have like an unexpected expense. And then suddenly they cannot pay you for like the month, or they cannot pay you for a few months. And then you just lose the client, not necessarily because it was your fault, but simply because you never know. Like life is just unpredictable, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely true. Absolutely true.
One thing I also say is, let's say you have one client and everything is going well with the client, you know, they're paying you a good amount of money, probably 4-figure retainer even, right? And you're comfortable. You're like, okay, I have a 4-figure retainer, you know, I'm young, everything's good, right? I feel great. But at the same time, you should never stop having other opportunities on the side, because you can always wake up tomorrow and then be back at zero, lose that client. Not, again, necessarily because of you, but just something external, completely external can happen, and then you're back at zero, right? So that's also something important. You always got to be looking for other opportunities and realistically working with multiple clients.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I want to talk about it a bit later.
Okay.
There's something going on. But basically, I mean, it actually happened in Switzerland. Do you remember? I just lost the client.
I remember.
Right? He was like, oh, I have this marketing assistant, whatever. Some marketing operations manager or something like this. And the guy just messaged me, you know, like, thanks for everything. I can record you a testimonial. Like, now I have this operations manager and she's handling everything. So, boom, that's it. I even asked if I did something bad, if I made any mistakes. And the guy said, no, absolutely not. I'm extremely happy with your results, with what you're doing. I'm super proud. Like, keep going, man. Don't go.
I mean, he just wanted to save money.
It's not even my fault.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like, stuff happens.
It does.
So, back to the original topic, back to my journey.
Yes, sir.
In January 2024, I made, I think, 2 very important decisions.
Okay.
First one was to join New Money. And that's
the networking group, yeah. I'm in there as well.
Yes, the networking group with millionaires, multi-millionaires, and all around really great people. And the second decision was to join Ian's course when he taught us how to outreach on Instagram. So I started outreaching again every single day, kinda neglecting my skills, which wasn't really a good decision, but I will get into that later.
Okay.
I started outreaching for 2, 3, 4 months, and then I met you. I remember your first message to me was on Discord.
Yeah.
Should I quote that, bro? Alan messaged me on Discord, sending me the link of your course, outreaching course, and he was like,
"Oh yeah.
Bro, have you seen this? Yeah, I actually saw that on stories. Alright, bro, let me get straight to the point. Are you fucking buying? that was his message.
Bro, I mean, listen, I remember I sent this to like everybody that, because remember when you were in 40 Academy and I was in 40 Academy as well, I was reviewing your copy all the time.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Because I was, what is it? I don't remember the tiers. I was like the highest level of student you can get to in the 40 Academy. And then you were like in the intermediate section. So every day, like for an hour and a half, I had this in my schedule, reviewing copy from people inside the community, right? And I had a few people that I kind of liked their copy and I thought they had potential. And I just reviewed their copy every single day. So that was you. And there were a few other people. One of them was actually Reagan, who's now the CMO of a 9-figure company and he's making 6 figures, right? And you're making good money as well. So everybody who I reviewed their copy in the 40 Academy, I can guarantee is now making good money.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, right? I remember your reviews. I remember taking notes from your reviews. I have a whole notebook. This here we have a lot of notes, a lot of pages, probably dozens of pages, reviews.
Bro,
I was taking notes.
You still keeping those? I've never had a notebook, like a physical.
No, I actually do. I actually do.
That's good.
And sometimes, very rarely, I get back to it.
Yeah. Okay.
But regardless, I joined your course, and then you upsold me on mentorship. And then things basically the rest is just history, right?
That's true.
I don't really know how it happened, but again, we'll get into that later. For now, that's how my early days looks like.
Okay. So, one thing I'm gonna ask you as well is, so what was during this journey, right? Obviously, there is more to it that you didn't go into yet, right? And that's after you joined, like what happened, etc. But what is, first of all, the number one lesson, the most important lesson you learned during the journey you just shared with me, right? Or if there's more than one, obviously you can share more than one. And then also, what is the one thing I taught you personally, right?
Yeah.
That got you to where we are today and just you sitting on this interview right now. What do you think?
Yeah, so there's definitely more than one lesson.
Okay, that's fine.
I actually have 6 points that I want to talk about. 6 main lessons.
Yep.
I think if I'd known before, I would be at solid 10-15k right now. So the first lesson I learned is don't rush the process. This is the most important one, I would say.
Okay.
I always try to skip steps and like just get to the money. So the second lesson is stop trying to shortcut your way to money.
Yep.
Don't try. Yes, like don't try to skip steps. For example, don't go into outreaching mode if you don't even know how to write a solid landing page or a solid email.
That's the point.
First of all, focus on your skills and then focus on money. And that's actually the third lesson. Right? Get good at the skill, then worry about the money. That's the third lesson. The fourth lesson is, I would say, your writing skills are way more important than your outreach skills. Because when you're good at writing copy, like naturally your outreach skills will improve. That's normal, right? And that's actually something you taught me as well. The fifth lesson is something I actually talk about in my YouTube video. Is your environment is everything. It's the most important part, I would say. Because if you have friends that don't believe in you, that are not necessarily on the path that you want to pursue, like how do you expect to get to the next level? How do you expect that to happen?
Yeah, because you just
if
hang
your
around
environment is
them.
always negative, right?
Yeah.
If it's always negative, then how do you expect to grow? How do you expect to learn and expand?
Good point. Bro, I wanted to just add something to, I think it was the first lesson you shared. So you said about skipping steps, right?
Yes, don't rush the process.
Okay. And I call this, you said like always wanting the money and kind of just focusing on that. So I call this the I want money like now mindset, right? And you know, the funny thing is that I even made a reel about this and I believe I talked about you in this reel, right? It was a recent situation where obviously you just had like let's say like a surge of this mindset for like a second when you had written this script, remember, like this YouTube script for one of your clients,
Yeah.
and then you had delivered it a bit late supposedly.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Remember, and then he was like, bro, it's a bit too late, you already paid for the studio for the day, right? And then he had to like improvise or whatever, and then you told me, bro, like I still want to kind of get paid for the script, like he haven't paid yet, right? But I told you, bro, no, this doesn't make sense, because like the guy didn't use the script, he literally wasted money on the studio because you delivered it late, right? So if you charge for this, okay, sure, maybe he's gonna pay you that money, but then the relationship is over, right? You lose all the future deals, because this is just something that in his eyes is gonna be like, oh, like this guy's not a good person to work with, right? So I remember I told you, no, don't charge for this, even though you could have gotten what, $400 for the script or whatever.
Yeah, 400.
Yeah, and you didn't charge for it, right? And then you got deals after that with the same guy. You continue working with him.
Exactly.
But if not, you would have lost on all of these future deals. So the whole thing about skipping steps is super important, because then at the end of the, let's say, year, in a 1 year time span, it's going to cost you money. It's not going to actually make you more money if you're just chasing the money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. For example, another good example is on Instagram, right? If you are doing Instagram outreach, you shouldn't jump straight into sending hundreds of cold DMs every single day, because you just get banned, right? And all your effort to build that following, to build that content creation, will basically disappear. Like it was for nothing.
Didn't the same thing happen to you?
It did, right? It did.
Yeah.
But that's actually not a great example. I got banned for my account was warmed up, but Facebook or Meta just changed their policies.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's the reason I got banned, right?
Yeah.
But right now I have a new account and I send like 5 DMs a day. Just 5.
Yep.
I'm starting super slow. So compared to my literally thousands DMs a week, this is nothing. But I know that if I try and increase it to like 20 or 30 a day, I'll just immediately get banned.
You could get banned, yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Exactly. And I actually do content on Instagram. So all that effort was for nothing. So don't rush the process.
I mean, same with the effort for like landing your client in the first place, right?
Yeah.
The situation I just spoke about. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. I just wanted to get back to this, but you were talking about environment, I believe.
Environment.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. For example, if you look around my room, like literally, wait.
Ferrari.
A Ferrari.
Right there. Yeah.
Exactly. Here I have a whiteboard. It's kind of like my vision board. I have my calendar right here on the right.
Oh, nice.
And here I can see pictures from Dubai. Pictures I took in Dubai. So this is my calendar is basically my vision board. Right?
Shit,
I put things around me that motivate me to work.
That's good.
So this is like physical environment. When it comes to people, because we can always say that this is your environment, I had to sacrifice long-term friendship. I had to sacrifice my best friends at the time to get to the next level. I had to change friends. For example, right now I'm only talking to you and to 2 of my friends, and that's it. I don't talk to anyone else. And I know it might sound harsh, or you guys might say that I'm lonely, but I'm really not. I just choose people that have a positive impact on me.
Yeah, bro, you don't need like 10 people to feel good. In fact, like the smaller your circle is, and it's just like people who are actually pushing you forward, then you feel the exact opposite of lonely. You just feel charged all the time. But when you actually have a lot of people and none of them are necessarily share your goals or share your mindset, then you still actually feel lonely, because like in your mind you're still alone on that path, right?
Yeah, you can't really relate to that people at all. I mean, we can relate to each other so well because we are on the same journey.
100%.
Right.
And I had to sacrifice a lot of, I mean, just all the people that I've known before, like from my past school, I just stopped speaking to them except from like two people, which are my best friends, right? And even though they're, the thing is, even though they're not on the same journey, they kind of still understand it, and they have, different goals. Like, the other thing is, sometimes you hear people like Tate, let's say, oh, like, if your friends are making money or you're not talking about money, just like, don't speak to them, right? And I feel like a lot of people kind of believe that, but in my eyes, it's not necessarily true, right? Because everybody has different goals, everybody wants to do a different thing just in life overall, but that doesn't mean that you should exclude absolutely everybody else except from people who just want to make a lot of money, right? Because I talk about great ideas with my two best friends who are just not going in the same direction, but they still understand what I do, and I can still talk to them about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in fact, I'm in exactly the same scenario. I have only like 2 copywriting buddies, which is you and Carol, that I met also a year ago. And I have 2 friends from my school that are kind of on the same path as me. I mean, they are not necessarily doing copywriting, they are doing some other business, some other type of business, right? And I still talk to them, right? Because we are kind of on the same journey. They do understand how it is.
Exactly, that's the thing.
Try and build a business from scratch.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a really good point that you made.
Thanks, sir. Of course. Okay, so this was. Do you have anything else? Any other lesson?
Yes. So the 6th lesson, the sixth one, is actually the one I learned from you.
Okay.
So I remember this one super vividly. I remember back in, I would say April or May 2024, we were on a call and you said to me, always take your shot. Do you remember?
I remember that.
Always take your shot. So what does that mean? For example, let's say that there's an application form for writing a YouTube script.
Yeah.
Even though you might have never written a YouTube script, just apply and see what happens. Just take your shot. Even if you have never written it, just learn, like, what's the problem? I will give you a vivid example. I outreached this one guy on Instagram. It was in August 2024.
Okay.
I messaged him on Instagram. He replied, and he was like, alright bro, message me on email.
Yep.
I sent the email and I totally forgot about the guy. Totally forgot about him.
Yep.
And 3 months later, I was just going through my tab of like sent emails, and I noticed, I haven't messaged this guy. I haven't followed up in 3 months. So probably most people would say, like there's no point. Like it was 3 months. He probably forgot. Why would I do it? I can't be bothered. And if I'm being honest, I had the same thoughts. But then later on, I was like, a follow-up will just take 2 minutes. Why don't try and take my shot? I took the shot. The guy replied literally, I'm not joking. 2 minutes later, I can give you a screenshot.
No, I remember, bro. You shared this with me.
Yes, 2 minutes later, and he put me on 1,500 retainer, straight off the bat.
I know that, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, and since then I made over $6,000 because of one message. One follow-up message that took me 2 minutes to send.
Yeah, because most people would have been like, it's been 3 months. Like, there's no way this guy just replies to me, or you know what I mean. And I've noticed that like there's multiple examples for that. For example, sometimes a copywriter is, let's say, outreaching and they're looking at prospects on Instagram, and then they see that a lot of big copywriters, maybe me, maybe Tyson, maybe somebody else, right, follows this prospect, and they're like, no, like let's say Elaine follows this prospect, right? There's no way I land them. But realistically, if I work with clients, like I can realistically work with 3 clients at a time max. Not like 1,000, and I follow, you know what I mean? Or like Tyson, let's say. Tyson, he doesn't work with clients anymore, but he follows all of them, and then somebody comes there and thinks, Tyson has outreach to them 2 years ago. Like, there's no way for me to lend them. No, just send the message. Like, you never know. Or the same thing you said with the application. Even if you see an application, it seems like maybe you're not qualified for this job. Doesn't matter. go ahead, apply. Maybe they pick you because of some different reason. Maybe your mindset seems strong or whatever. So
perhaps you said something that they like. Like, who knows? Just take your shot.
You never know. You never know. I've had a lot of situations like this. I'm not sure if I can think of a specific example, but for example, there was this job, like same like job application on Facebook, and I see it, and I'm like, I don't know, should I really like apply to a job right now? I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, whatever, right? I can apply, and then I applied, and I got to the interview like the next day, right? So bro, that was a really good one. So that's something you learned from me personally.
From you, yes, exactly. This is probably the best lesson by far.
Good, perfect, bro. Okay, so are those all of the lessons, or you have some things?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
these are all the lessons I wanted to share.
Perfect, bro. These were really good. Super strong. Okay, bro. So now I want to move aside from copywriting. Okay, guys, don't worry, it's gonna be good. Okay, I'll move aside from copywriting for a bit. And you know, bro, you've visited me in Sofia last year in July, first of all.
Yeah.
A few months later, in September, we went to Dubai for like a week, right? In like a villa, crazy trip. Then,
absolutely.
2 weeks ago, we were in Switzerland for a week again, right?
Yeah.
And then in May, which is in like 2 months, May is in like 2 months already, and we have another trip booked already with hotel to Monaco. So, bro, all this tells me is that you have to know what you're doing when it comes to networking, right? And I wanted to just ask you, like, first of all, what did you do to get that close to me when you were, you know, just a normal student like everybody, joining the mentorship, right? And then what are like the secrets in quotes, that you would share with people so they can network with the people who are where they want to be already, who are living the life they want? Do you have anything for this?
It's actually funny because I still kind of don't know. I still don't know how I ended up in this position. I still kind of don't know, and it's actually funny because I was in a tough situation back in. I think it was before a trip to Sofia actually.
Oh, to Sofia.
It was like May, June 2024. And I was in a really tough situation, and I said everything to you, and then you messaged me saying, "Bro, don't worry, I can get you an Airbnb if you need." Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was like, what was it? Was it something with your parents?
Yes, it was, yes.
Yeah.
The details don't really matter.
Yeah,
but
obviously.
Basically, you just offered me your help, right?
Yeah.
And I thought like, bro, like, why? Like, what did I do? You know? Like, what did I do? And I actually asked you this question.
I remember.
Bro, Alan, what did I do to deserve this? And then you replied with 3 things. First one was, you are a really enjoyable person to talk to. The second one was, you helped me develop in areas that you haven't developed in yet. And the third one was, you are not being offended, or you are not making a scene when I offend you. I would rather like put it off, laugh about it, when making drama.
Because it's obviously
these are 3 things.
Yeah.
So these are the 3 things, and
okay.
I still don't kind of really know, but all I can say is I was just being myself. And also the other thing I noticed that we have a very similar personality.
Okay.
Really similar.
What is that personality?
So
what is that personality?
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
We have the same personality, and this fact can't really help the audience. Because we have the same personality.
I mean, that doesn't...
Can't really...
Yeah, you can't really...
Yeah, that doesn't really help.
It doesn't really help, that's true.
So basically, yes, exactly. So what I wanted to talk about is the main thing, be likable. Right? So that's the first thing you said. The second thing you said is provide value. And the third 100%. Thing you said also being likable, right? So everything, this whole networking thing, we can summarize into 2 key points. Being likable, providing value. That's basically it.
Yeah, and like being likable, that doesn't mean changing your personality to be likable to everybody, right? Because that's not a good thing. It kind of means just overall being a good person who you can have like a good conversation with, which is a skill in and of itself, right? Because people like to talk to people who obviously listen to them, right? And then have something to say. And that's also being valuable. So it all kind of comes together. Like networking is nothing, it's nothing that crazy. Like for example, you know, our video editor, Hassan, when he first, I don't know the story of how he actually started working for you.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So I remember he messaged me in October, I would say.
Yep.
He messaged me on Instagram. I don't really remember the first message, but he was like, bro, can I do something? I can work for you for free.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, who cares? I don't care.
Yeah.
Everybody says I was like, I had a lot of side tasks that I couldn't really bother to do. So I just messaged him. I just replied, alright, what can you do? Anything, bro, I can do anything. Just give me something.
Yeah.
So I was like, alright. I have a few tasks that I can give you. Let's see how it goes. The first one I think was for free. He literally worked for free for me. And then I was still doing outreach on Instagram. It used to take me 2, 3, 4 hours every single day.
Oof.
And I just couldn't bother. So I gave that task to Hassan. And he was outreaching for me for $100 a month. So he was doing about 25 to 30 hours a month for just $100. But I will remind you that he's from Pakistan, so $100 for him is actually like, I think triple the wage. So
it's not triple the wage, but I mean it's good money.
Wage. The monthly wage is triple.
The monthly wage? I think the monthly wage is like 300 average.
No, I don't think so. I think it's way less.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think the average.
I think he told me that he's making $15 a week as a teacher.
Oh yeah, because the 300 per month is basically for like high level engineers, from what I know. Yeah. So it's different.
So for like normal average for is about 80, 60, 80 I would say.
Per month.
Alright, so not triple, but about double.
About that, yeah, full time wage. Yep.
Yeah, and he was working for me for 2 months, probably even 3, and we kind of had to stop because my Instagram got banned.
Yeah.
Right, and then I was talking to you about certain content, and we were kind of putting it off, putting it aside.
100%.
But then we just decided, alright, bro, let's do it, let's start. And I messaged him, bro, do you know any video editors? He was like, I am a video editor. Right?
Bro, the guy does everything, like for real.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just surprised.
Also, you asked me, I remember you asked me, do I know any video editors? And I was like, yeah, like my VA is a video editor.
It was how I actually got to learn about him and actually hired him in the first place was I launched a free community, by the way, guys, link down in the description. Learn to write copy like 6-figure copywriter, connect with me, connect with Matthew. But anyway, so he joins the free community right when I released it, like a few months ago, let's say. And there's this referral system inside the free community where if you refer a certain amount of people, you get a certain reward. So like if you refer, let's say 25 people, you get a one-on-one actually call with me, which is absolutely crazy. And I don't know why a lot of people don't do it. But he was the first one who joined immediately. Next day, he had the referrals for the one-on-one call. And I'm like, oh, this guy is like, nobody else did that, right? So I hop on a one-on-one call with him, speak to him. That's the first time I kind of spoke to him. Then he attends all of the calls, the weekly Q&A calls. So I see him everywhere, right? Then at one point, he has 50 referrals, 50, 60 referrals, even though there's no reward for like 50 referrals. There's nothing like...
Yeah, he's still going for it.
He's still going for it. And I'm like, this guy, right? So he now has my WhatsApp, you know, I've talked to him, and then I want to start content, right? And he starts kind of helping me out with that. I don't remember exactly how things went, but I think I hopped on a call with him just to talk about content. He made a whole presentation of, okay, what backgrounds do you use for reels, right? background music, like all of these super detailed things, like a whole presentation that takes 3 hours.
Yeah, he was extremely prepared.
Yeah,
He literally made a whole presentation.
Made a whole presentation just for like background.
He didn't even know in the first place if you hire him.
Yeah, of course. Of course, he didn't know.
So
and I didn't know he did video editing.
Value.
Yeah. And then at one point, I understood that he does video editing. So then it just hired him for that. And then, okay, immediately when I got into YouTube, I mean, Hassan, bro, you're watching this right now, you're editing this. Good to see you. Like, obviously I got you for YouTube as well, for all the content.
Yeah.
So he kind of applied this same concept of just being valuable. He got the referrals. I noticed him, right? And then also, again, being a nice person to talk to, because, okay, he goes ahead, we hop on a call, right? He wants to help out. We just speak normally, and now we just speak like friends, right? I don't consider him somebody that like works for me, or you get my point.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, another principle, the first principle I just got reminded about is not being stupid.
Not being stupid.
We can expand on that, right? But a lot of people are just, I don't want to offend anyone, but a lot of people are just totally retarded. and right? Like, totally. I don't want to offend anyone, I don't want to get into the details, but bro, we could probably write a book about it.
Bro, this was a tough one. Yeah. This was
Regardless.
Yep.
If there's a problem that Hassan faces, or if there's a problem I face, and I turn to Hassan, he will find the answer for me.
That's true.
He doesn't bombard me with 10 questions every single day.
Yep.
Asking about stuff. He just figures out everything on his own, and we can just ask for feedback.
Yeah, so that's more like, because I get what you mean here. It's not necessarily being retarded, but
not being retarded.
Because that's a bit different.
I would say also.
But obviously you over exaggerated, but it's more like not thinking for yourself, right? And I've noticed that, for example, let's say somebody joins my mentorship and they start asking me some questions that are basically one Google, just search on Google, or one search on ChatGPT away.
ChatGPT, yeah.
And obviously I'm like, I answer the question, but then I tell them like, for example, bro, this, you could have asked ChatGPT like for questions like that. And then I try to make people understand that they have a lot more, they can do a lot by themselves, right? They can think of all of this stuff, and then once they think of it, they go validate it, right? That's why I'm valuable. They're like, hey bro, I came up with this. What do you think? Instead of, hey bro, how do I come up with this?
So perhaps instead of saying not being stupid, we could say use your
brain. Using your own brain. Exactly. Right? Because if, for example, you were the type of student or the type of guy who is every day annoying me with the dumbest things, I wouldn't want to associate with you. Right? Because you're just wasting my time. You get my point? So that's also a good point. Right? Because people who are high performing, like people who are at a high level, what do they value the most? They value their time, right? So if you go there,
and peace of mind,
and peace of mind, exactly. Like that's super important.
For example, bro, what subject line should I use? Like even questions like that.
And they want you to come up with the subject line for.
Yeah.
And they just expect you to come up with the subject line. Yeah, those are some of the worst things. Then okay, how can this person be helpful to me when he's just out here just asking the most basic question? Like, come up with the subject line, then I'll tell you if it's good. I can do that, but what subject line should I use? I don't know. Well, what subject line do you want to use? Right? You get my point. So
exactly.
That's a really great problem, bro. It is. Do you have anything else for networking? But I think that covers
No, I would say these 3 rules are the foundation. The first one is being likable, providing value, use your brain. 3 rules to apply. If you want to network with people like you, like me, like other high-performing individuals.
Completely, bro. Perfect. All right, bro. So let's move back to copywriting. We kind of went a bit with networking here, but let me get back to copywriting. So I know you have this series. Obviously, you post reels on Instagram, guys. Go check out Matthew's Instagram. Drop him a follow. But you have a series on Instagram called 6-Figure Mindset. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So basically the mindset to get to 6 figures, I guess, right?
Yes, sir.
And what I want to ask you is, because obviously you're an expert when it comes to mindset. So what mindset do you think a copywriter needs to have, like what are, let's say, the mindset traits or however you want to describe it, that a copywriter needs to have in order to reach your level, to reach my level. I mean, that I can speak for me, but it's probably going to be pretty similar. So let's say to reach your level and higher, what mindset traits does a copywriter need to have?
That's actually a really good question. Like, there's a lot of small things about mindset. There is so many principles, so many rules that you should follow.
It's complex.
And again, like, yes, exactly. I could talk about it forever.
Okay.
Forever, and we could probably write a book about it.
Let's try to do it in like a few minutes.
Yeah, let me try and do it.
Okay.
So I have a YouTube video when I talk about 3 principles of a successful copywriter's mindset. But I don't want to talk about that. I'll save it for later. Today, I'll talk about something different. Okay. So, there are basically 4 rules that we can kind of generalize and put aside. So the first rule is relentless drive.
Okay.
Relentless drive. And we can tie it back to having a strong vision. So this is kind of like the first rule of an unbreakable mindset.
Yep.
So, during my hardest days, what keeps me working, what keeps me motivated or disciplined, is my vision, is my drive. I simply know what I want from life. I know I have a clear vision in my head from the beginning, right? I know what I want.
Yep.
I know I will get it. I'm just aware that I have to put hours in sweat and blood and tears. And then I will achieve it. Right?
Yep.
That's the first principle. The second one is, we can also kind of tie it back, but do you know your why? Do you know why you are doing what you are doing?
I mean,
or are you just like mindlessly sending outreach or mindlessly learning how to write copy? Do you actually know why are you doing this?
Don't you think the first and the second one, they're kind of similar, right?
Yes, they're a bit similar, but vision and having a why, I would say there's a bit of a difference.
Yeah, a bit
so
of a
do you
difference
actually
for sure.
know why are you doing it? For example, with outreach, so when you are sitting in front of a screen for hours, your eyes are red, you're tired, you're basically falling asleep, and you are sending outreach, like follow-ups.
Yep.
Do you know why you are doing it? Do you know why?
Good point, because the thing is, if you don't have a good reason, like why are you gonna torture yourself, basically, for nothing?
Exactly, that's the point.
And
why would you keep going if you don't know why?
Good point. And then the other thing is, a lot of people, when you ask them, bro, like, okay, why are you doing this? I want to get a Lambo. Bro, listen, like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because the truth is, if all you want, the only reason why you started business and copywriting, whatever else, is to get a piece of metal. How many 12-hour days where you just basically, the last thing you want to do is continue working and you just want to go to bed? How many of these can you just endure if you just want to get a piece of metal? Probably not that many. Probably like a month. And the thing is, like a big reason why a lot of copywriters give up is because their why is just not strong enough, right? They tell you, oh yeah, bro, like I want to live this lifestyle, whatever. Yeah, the lifestyle isn't going to motivate you enough. That's the thing. You need to have a deeper reason. So for me, for example, like I talked this with Evan. Guys, if you haven't checked out the interview with Evan, you can go check it out. It's my first ever video as well. But we talked about this, and for him, I remember his why was because he was working this warehouse job. He was working for like 60 hours per week, going there in a warehouse. Like he sent me videos. It's just not a place you want to be at, right? And he had to wake up every day at like 6 a.m. He was completely just exhausted. He had to get out of bed and just go to this job and carry carton boxes all day, right? So for him, his why is he just doesn't want to do this his whole life. It's so horrible. He was like, I cannot do this my whole life. I don't want to wake up early. I don't want to go to this disgusting job and all of that. So that was his why, and that's how he started making, I mean, at this point, he's making crazy amounts of money, right? For me, it was my family mainly, right? Not only my current family, aka my parents, but also my future family, because I want to have a lot of kids. And like, if you work if I just go to like a normal job and I barely get paid anything, first of all, I can't take care of my kids. Second of all, can't take care of my wife. And then I don't have time even to spend with them and raise my kids. Like, the TV is gonna raise my kids if I'm just at a 9 to 5 all the time, or like working 12 hours.
Instagram.
Yeah, TV, Instagram, stuff like that. So I didn't want that. So that was kind of my why. And you need to find that deeper mission, that deeper reason why you're doing all of this, because the surface level reason, like I want to get this watch, it's not going to motivate you. Like just having some metal sitting on your wrist, that's not going to help you work for 14 hours, right? Because realistically, listen, at the beginning, everybody starts, in most cases, most people, because of the materialistic, right? When I started, I also wanted to get a few t-shirts, get some nice clothes, and that's about it, right? And then I get to the point where I'm like that's not really it, right? And then I had to find an actual reason why I continue doing this, because it just started being like, I mean, maybe I should give up. Like, what's really the point, right?
Yeah. And also, another point we can talk about is that you shouldn't spend weeks or months on figuring out your why. Like, it shouldn't take longer than, I would say, 4 hours. And that was the case for me. So, we can... The exercise that I did to discover kind of my why and my vision was, I decided to write 100 goals. 100 goals that I have.
Okay.
So what is my why? My why is kind of the short term. So it's like, in the next year, in the next 6 to 12 months, what I want to achieve. This is your why. But your vision is the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, it's the bigger picture.
This is the difference, right?
Yeah.
So 50 goals short term, 50 goals long term. That's what I did. It took me about 4 to 5 hours and a lot of mental energy, because after 10 goals, you kind of...
It becomes hard.
You don't really know what you want.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So you need to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what you actually want from life.
Yep.
And this is exactly what motivates me, what keeps me persistent, consistent with copywriting, even though I fail, even though I sometimes lose clients, even though I have sleepless night, I still push because of this one exercise I did.
Bro, I didn't know about this exercise. That's good. I mean, I didn't necessarily do that. I just kind of, it just kind of popped up in my mind. You get my point? And
I do, yes, yeah. I mean, it was the same case for me, but I like the idea of it like being tangible.
Of writing stuff down.
I can kind of feel it, you know?
I see.
So I put it on the paper. I have it on my paper, one of my notebooks. And like it feels tangible. It feels real.
That's your
because
point.
in the mind, I believe this is just an idea. It's just a vague idea. But if you describe it on the paper, it's kind of different, you know? It's stronger, I would say.
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So 100 goals is kind of the third principle, and the fourth one is, guys, I have this one more daily morning routine. Every day I wake up, I do 5 to 10 minutes of stretching, and then in my mind, I just repeat this one phrase, which is, bro, you should remember this. It's four principles of an unbreakable mindset by Andrew Tate. There are 4 principles.
I think I've watched this video.
Yes, it was back in Hassel's University when Professor Andrew used to talk about it, and I remember I watched the whole video probably like 100 times already. But by this time, I put everything on the paper. I literally memorized it.
Ooh,
I have the lines in my head, so every day I wake up, I just reverse what I had in my head, what I have in my mind, right? I just reverse it. So this is like this positive energy. It reinforces my beliefs. It gives me a lot of confidence because I talk good things about myself.
Yep.
So I would say this is the 4th principle, and this is how you actually build your mind.
Bro, can you sum up the 4 principles? No, not sum up, but like just list them out again.
The principles, right.
Yeah.
So the first one is relentless drive, which is basically knowing your vision. So this is long-term goals. This is what you want in the long term. The second one is, do you know your why? Your why is your short-term goals, 6 to 12 months, I would say.
Yep.
The first principle was the 100 goals. Release 100 goals.
Yep.
And the fourth one is just listen to the Unbreakable Mindset by Andrew Tate. This is all you need.
Nice.
I know it might
Bro,
sound
these are
cliche,
interesting
but
answers.
like Google it on Spotify.
No, these are
I would
interesting
say
answers.
8 to 10 minutes. Google it, listen to it every day. It will change your life.
Because if you ask somebody else, like, what mindset do you need to have? They're going to be like, oh, work hard.
Like, yeah, because when it comes to mindset,
yeah,
I can talk about so many things. I can talk about habits, about ego, about vision. There's so many things that you need to know.
That's true.
So many. So I want to summarize it to this one point. And like, this is how I built my mindset. I built my mindset by listening to Andrew Tate. I literally sat down and thought about
same thing for me, basically.
I was listening to Andrew Tate podcasts basically every single day, right? And I just built my mindset like that. Like, it's really hard to describe how I did it.
True.
It just came in naturally, I would say.
I mean, it does come naturally. Yeah, it does come naturally. Like, it doesn't mean...
It does.
Like, still, you can definitely get help with your mindset, right, and different beliefs. But at the end of the day, it's just something you kind of need to develop.
Yeah, you can't really do it like overnight.
Yeah,
that's really hard.
100%.
You don't just start and a week later you've built an unbreakable. It doesn't happen, right? You build it gradually, step by step. Yep. Again, you don't skip the steps. It's step by step, brick by brick. You build your mindset, and there's so many things that you will learn along the journey. That will reinforce your beliefs, make you stronger, make you more confident. And that was my case. That was just my case. And it all happened. It is all possible because of Andrew Tate. Like, I don't know how to else put it. Just listen to Andrew Tate podcast. That's how you build a strong mindset.
And listen to Matthew's series 6-Figure Mindset on Instagram as well.
And read 6-Figure Mindset in Alan's school.
And I was just gonna say that. Yes, enjoy the school community. Watch the 6-Figure Mindset module because they actually have a whole mindset module in there as well. Matthew, bro, thank you very much for this. On to the next one. This is a bit more interesting, but I've had people kind of asking me for it, so I thought I'd ask you, right? A lot of copywriters are stressed right now that copywriting will take their job. Obviously, you've worked with quite a few high-level clients, people making 8 figures plus per year. So do you think there is a possibility for that to happen and for AI to replace copywriters, or do you think businesses will just always hire a copywriter no matter what? What is your view on this?
I'm kind of in the middle, I would say. But if you look on the sides, yes, AI will replace copywriters. And if you look on another side, is copywriting will not replace copywriters.
Yeah.
So let me explain.
Yeah, go on.
The first side is that AI will replace low-level copywriters, people who don't really wanna improve their skills, who don't really know persuasion, who don't really know direct response, who don't really like to dig deeper into the meaning of copy.
Yep.
And who are just in the business to make a bug and disappear. I believe AI will replace these type of people. Let me give you an example. At one point, I was having so much work that I was thinking about literally hiring another copywriter to just do the work for me.
Okay.
But then AI got like an update. It was, I believe, when ChatGPT 4.0 got introduced. Yes, and I bought the subscription. I was like, bro, I don't need to hire anyone. I can just use AI.
Okay.
Right? So this experience just shows us that some people could have had a job, but they don't because of AI. And in the long run, I believe AI will definitely replace copywriters, especially after watching a call in the mentorship. There was a call with Regan. We talk about him. And we're on the call. He shared a few great lessons from what was that? It was a mastermind, right? A $50,000 mastermind.
Yeah, he was in Stephen George Eyes, I believe.
Oh yes.
He has like this crazy mastermind. And the thing is that Reagan, he works for a 9-figure company, so the company just invests in all of these insane masterminds for him to simply learn. He doesn't pay for them, right? He just works with that client. And he did like a common mentorship where he shared basically what he learned and how to use AI to pump out high-grade copy in 5 seconds. I think he wrote 5 emails in like 5 seconds. But the most important thing, what does AI need for it to give you something good, right? The thing is, AI is not creative. Okay, you're creative. People are. So what does AI need to give you something good? AI needs dozens of examples. So Reagan, what does he do? He gives 20, 30 more examples of his copy that he personally wrote because he's a great copywriter, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's been my mentee. He actually was my first ever mentee. And that's when AI just copies. It just takes inspiration. It doesn't come up with anything. AI is not good at that, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you can only write copy as good as saying to ChatGPT, write me an email, right? Then yeah, you're getting replaced, right? I mean, nobody will even hire you in the first place if your skills are at that level. But business owners will always need you as a copywriter if you're a great copywriter, because AI cannot function.
That's exactly what I wanted to say.
Yeah, like AI
This
cannot function without a great copywriter. Yeah, you can
There's actually a lot of business owners that are like, I'm hiring a copywriter with the snack for AI, with the snack of AI, or who know how to leverage AI.
That's true.
Let me like expand on it.
Yep.
So, for example, I actually kind of got replaced by AI. Even at my level, I kind of got. In Switzerland, right? We talk about that, operations manager, blah, blah, blah. And my client messaged me saying that, oh, she does it with AI, so it's one of her daily tasks now. I literally got replaced by AI, while still leveraging AI. So even at this level, there might be possibility you get replaced.
Yeah, but in this case, it was kind of different.
In the long run, I think that the better you get, and if you actually show people what AI can do, and that you are the master of AI, then I believe you are absolutely unreplaceable. I think that's the word. You can't be irreplaceable. Irreplaceable.
Yeah, irreplaceable, exactly. So you're saying, first of all, you gotta be great at the skill of copywriting.
First of all, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, first of all, you need to understand how to actually write good copy by yourself.
Yep.
Because others, like AI, won't teach you that.
Bro, how did you like personally improve your copy and become just great at copywriting? What is like the main?
I do it.
Yeah. How did you do that? What is like the main thing?
It was certainly feedback.
Feedback. So what do you mean by that?
Certainly feedback. So even back in 40 Academy days.
Yep.
As you were reviewing my copy, you were kind of my mentor, right?
Yeah, basically.
Even at that time. Like you were reviewing at least one copy a day.
Yeah, I remember that.
At least one email.
Bro, good times. Good old times. Yeah.
Good times. After it was like what? 1 year ago?
It was a while ago, bro. It was 2023.
20. Damn, that's true. Bro, 1.5 years ago.
Yeah, 1.5 years ago, basically. Yeah.
Damn. Yes. And then I was improving my skills again when I joined your mentorship.
With the feedback.
So, with the feedback, yeah. So you were also reviewing my copy on the course or besides the course. I was taking notes.
So like the main thing is kind of...
That's how you improve.
Yeah, like the main thing is getting your copy looked at by somebody who's already great at copywriting, because...
Or someone who is at the level that you want to be.
Yeah, a level that you want to be, basically. Now, the thing is, that's why I don't like these necessarily... I don't focus on lessons. I go, here is this lesson about writing subject lines. You get my point? Because a lot of these, let's say you get a course on copywriting, like with lessons, and then it's like, let's say every day you get like a lesson, and then you have to write this thing, and then you learn it. I don't necessarily like that, because at the end of the day, you don't really need to go through all of this. All you need to do is go through like a couple months, let's say join a mentorship, get a couple months of feedback one-on-one, and then you're gonna immediately, all of these areas are gonna be good.
Absolutely
Right.
true.
I
I still remember to
yeah.
this day, like when you were reviewing my copy back in the day in First
Yep.
Academy, or at the beginning of our mentorship, which was identity mentorship in April 2024. Like my
Yes,
copy
sir.
just skyrocketed.
Yep.
Like I was extremely surprised. I got really well at writing copy extremely quickly, and this is because I was getting feedback and I was applying it immediately. Literally the same
That's
day.
also super important. Yeah,
Applying, yes.
100%.
Then we can kind of tie it back to AI, right? If you
Yep.
if you haven't gone through that process yet, if there is nobody looking at your copy, then AI won't really help you. And then you'll actually get played by AI. Right? You need to get good at the skill. You need to know how to review your own copy before you start using AI. And this is, again, a cool principle that we can get back to.
Yeah.
Don't skip steps. First of all,
100%.
get good at the copy, and then later on use AI.
Yeah.
Right?
Later
Because
on,
another
just
point that we can talk about is, yes, AI will replace low-level copywriters, as we said. But AI can also help you.
if you're good.
Me. If you are good.
If you're good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you become good, first of all, okay, get feedback, one-on-one, get your copy reviewed, apply the feedback,
Yes.
improve, and literally daily. Like you're gonna notice it daily when you get feedback.
Absolutely, yes.
Third thing, watch Reagan's call about AI inside a mentorship. Is that basically it?
This is basically it, I would say.
Okay.
And again, like, don't skip steps. Before you watch the
Reagan's AI call,
with
yeah.
Reagan,
Get
yes,
good.
before you watch
Completely.
that, get good at the skill. Because that call won't help you at all.
Completely agree, bro. Now, is that everything about AI?
I would say so.
Yeah,
So
I think
to
that's the
summarize it,
conclusion.
yes.
That's about it?
Yeah. So the conclusion is, yes, AI will replace low-level copywriters. The people who are
100%.
here to just make a quick buck and disappear.
Yeah.
But AI won't replace people who are actually good at the skill,
Yep.
who know what they are doing, who know how to apply AI to their own business and to the business of their clients.
To write good copy faster.
To write good copy. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you are this type of guy, you won't get replaced. That's the conclusion.
Completely agree. Thank you very much, bro. I have a bit of a... I thought of a bit of a personal question for you. I believe this is specifically for the people watching this interview who are either our age or younger. I know in my community, like my free community, I talked to this guy who was like 15. So there's definitely way younger people than us. We're already old, bro. Realistically, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Absolutely
bro, I know
not.
like 14-year-olds starting their first business.
That's
At 14,
true.
I was playing Minecraft.
Yeah, 100%. So this question is specifically gonna help the younger people here, okay? And it's about like your parents. So how did you quote unquote convince? Because maybe they're not convinced yet, but how do you deal with that of telling your parents or them accepting that you're going all in on copywriting, you're starting this business, you're not gonna pay attention in school, you're not gonna go to university, and all of these things? Because I've been through this myself, and I've obviously had tough arguments, if we can call them that way, with my parents about this, and I'm sure that a lot of my younger audience is probably going through the same thing.
Yeah. This is a very good question. So you said dealing with it, right? You don't really deal with it. You don't really do it. Like, for example, I believe I handled it pretty well.
Okay.
So I didn't have a lot of arguments. I would say maybe throughout the period of 2.5 years, last 2.5 years, I argued about school and grades and copywriting maybe less than 10 times.
Interesting.
They weren't really that big arguments.
Okay.
And this is because I handled it well. So what I did is
Yep.
when I first joined, I didn't really talk about it at all. Like I always
Okay.
like to keep everything I do in private,
I see.
and I didn't really reveal what I'm doing or what my plans are. And I know there's a lot of people who like watched Andrew Tate, and the next day they came to their parents and said, I'm quitting school. I'm going all in on this money making thing." And there's this huge argument, and
Oh,
bro,
you don't have to do
the
this.
stupid thing you can do it.
Yeah, like this is just doing it, shooting yourself in the foot, basically.
Yeah, exactly. This is the worst thing you can do. You
Yeah.
start small. You
I
start
agree.
small. You can start copywriting. Alright, let's say you start copywriting. Okay? You do
Yeah.
it after school or during school, during the breaks. You still help your parents, you still go to school, you still get good grades. If you're getting good grades, right? You are still going to the exams, you are still passing, right? You
Yeah.
don't really talk about dropping out, you don't really talk about your big ideas, big plans, you don't really reveal everything, you just drop hints. You gradually try and not like convince them, but show what's possible with it, especially when you start getting results. So, for example, for me, the first 1.5 years,
Yep.
my parents didn't really know what I was doing. It was kind of like lying through omission. I think that's what it's called, lying
Yep.
through omission. So, when my parents asked me, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was
Yep.
like, "Oh, I'm just playing GTA with my friends." I didn't really reveal what I'm doing at all. I didn't really say that. And then, when for the first time I went to Warsaw in March 2024 to meet with people from New Money, from my
Oh, the
network,
event. Yeah.
right? Yes. Then my parents started, I would say, convincing themselves that this is what I'm doing is bringing me results,
Okay.
right? Even though I didn't even say how much money I was making,
Yep.
if I was making money in the first place, they didn't really know.
But this is kind of like proof of concept.
They could
Honestly.
kind of just assume that I have some money. Because
Yeah,
I was going
obviously.
to restaurants, I was sometimes I would buy clothes, maybe groceries. So they started asking me, like, okay, what are you doing? Like, is it working? And
Yeah.
yes, of course, like my grades slowly started to getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
But then my parents were used to it and saw that I'm not going out, I'm not partying, I'm not drinking, I'm not going around the city doing whatever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to improve myself, right? I'm getting better and better at English. I'm getting better and better at communication.
Yep.
Somehow I make money. So this automatically started reinforcing the beliefs that my parents have. Doesn't make sense.
It does. It does make sense. So then it wasn't. I mean, obviously, like you never convince them of. Oh yeah,
Yes,
I'm gonna get
I
my
never.
grades.
Yes, I never tried to convince them. For example,
Yeah.
I knew that I'm not gonna go to university when I first started.
Yep.
Currently I'm in the fifth grade, which is like the last grade
Last grade. Yeah.
here in Poland, right? When I was in third grade, which was 2 years ago, I already knew I'm not going to university. I already knew.
Same.
But I was still telling my parents that, yeah, I'm going to university, don't worry, I'm going. So I was lying through a mission. Right?
I see. I mean, that's basically lying. That's not a mission.
Yeah.
That's just lying. Okay.
Okay, let's say this is just lying. But this
Yeah.
protects both the relationship that I have with my parents and myself, right? And then
yeah.
over time, when I went to Sofia for the first time, this was actually my first time going abroad, totally by myself.
Oh, okay.
When I went to Dubai, then I went to Switzerland literally 2 weeks ago, and my parents, I had a conversation with my parents a week ago, and they just accepted it. That I'm not going to university, that my grades are basically terrible at this point, that my attendance is absolutely my attendance absolutely sucks, that I'm making some money, that this is what I want to do, and they just accepted it.
Yeah, so it's already been a while of just like dropping seeds.
Yes, if you just concise the story into a few points.
Yep.
I didn't try to convince them. I didn't have arguments. I didn't say that I wanna drop out. Nothing at all.
Interesting.
I was
Interesting.
gradually increasing.
Yeah, that's good.
Or saying, or gradually trying to convince them that school is not what I want to do. And yes, it took me 2 years. It took me basically 2.5 years, because I remember when I first started out, when my parents heard about Andrew Tate being a human trafficker.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went all in on that. They said that, oh, who I'm listening to, I shouldn't do it, I should focus on school. And I still didn't try to argue at all. I was like, alright, yes, you're right. I will stop listening to him. I'm listening to him to this point. So, yeah, just don't try to argue against your partner.
For me, bro, it was a bit different. Like,
okay, share your story.
For me, it was definitely a bit different, because I kind of started this. They immediately, I always tell them what I was doing. I explained it to them initially, right? I mean, my father, for example, necessarily didn't understand it exactly, but like, I told them, yeah, I'm starting this thing and I'm going to be doing this thing. They were supportive about it, right? As long as everything's going good with school, obviously, right? And I can just
same.
do that on the side, right? So then I think soon enough, I started just completely clearly expressing that I don't care about school and I want to drop out and I'm not going to university and any of that. So I just went into the fire straight up immediately. I've had many big arguments, especially like it's the hardest thing is at the beginning when you still don't have the proof, like you aren't making any money, you don't have any results, and you're telling me, yeah, I'll just do this, I'm quitting school and I'm not going to university. And you're like, are you stupid? This, you're not doing anything right now. Like, you're not doing anything right now, right? And I'm like, you see, and then like, then it just kind of discourages you. That's the thing. So like, you did it the easy way, not the easy way, but the smart way, basically.
Not the easy way, the smart way. Yeah, the smart.
Yeah, the smart way where
I haven't.
You kind of tell them after you get the results. Like they kind of accept it after you get the results.
I've never really shared with my parents what I'm doing. Never.
I see.
So I guess it kind of helped me because that wasn't intentional. Now I can look back and say, okay, this was intentional.
Yep.
But like looking back at the time, thinking, it just came naturally.
I get you, bro.
I've always tried to hide what I'm doing. I don't know why. Yeah. It's just a part of me.
No, I was never that type of person. I always like to share stuff. So yeah, for that reason, just because of that trait in my personality, I've been through some like tough arguments. Yeah. But it never like, it was kind of interesting because when I had a huge argument and they kind of discouraged me, they're like, no, like this is not gonna work out or whatever, right? And
yeah, I remember we actually had a conversation about that before Sofia. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you had like a few arguments with your parents about copywriting, about dropping out, and we are talking.
I see. I don't remember the conversation, bro. Do you know more detail? What was it about?
So I think back in June 2024, like we were planning to move to Croatia. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yes, we were trying to move to Croatia.
Yep.
Drop out from school. And then I remember you had this argument with your parents, and then we were talking. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, yeah. So I mean, this was already kind of. I was already making 6 figures at that time. Yeah. So argument was a lot lighter, but at the beginning, the thing is, I've always, because of that personality trait of me liking to share stuff, I had to go to many big arguments. But after every kind of argument, usually like these are tough arguments where your parents just completely destroy you because they know you the best. You get my point?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But for me, these arguments were actually, I was using them as fuel. Because after every argument, they tell me, no, this is not going to work out, you're not doing anything. I'm like, and they tell me, focus on school, do this just on the side. I was like, okay, I was turning it around. So basically what they're telling me is to not pay attention to school and just work harder on this. Right? That's really good. And then I just started doing the exact opposite. Bro, it was always so funny. Like my mom is just telling me these things.
I'm sorry, but it just made me laugh so much.
No, it's funny, bro. Like, my mom is telling me these things of like, oh, like, do we have a deal? And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, we have a deal. I'm just gonna work hard on copywriting.
I mean, bro, I was kind of doing the same thing. So my mother was like, when she noticed that my grades are like are getting worse and worse, and I'm not learning for exams. My mom was like, alright, stop focusing on that, like, score is the most important part. And
Always,
like,
I hate
mom,
that.
Score is more important.
I hate
like,
that.
yeah, I should focus on grades, and then I was doing.
Yeah, you just do the exact opposite thing.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
I mean, listen, your parents, listen, like, the thing is, your parents love you, and they want the best for you, but the thing is, they want what they think is the best for you, right? And at the end of the day, who is the only, like, one person on earth who knows what's best for you?
You're the only person.
Right. So at the end of the day, your parents have really good advice on certain things, but on certain things they don't have the right advice for you because they don't necessarily know what is best for you.
That's true, and also another point is that they simply don't understand. True. They are born in a totally different generation.
You cannot get rich online.
Father. Yeah, exactly. And my father was like, when I was 25, I didn't even have a phone.
Yeah.
I had a computer. It was like a huge box.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, you could play maybe some games, and I don't think even the internet, like 25 years ago, I think there wasn't an internet. Maybe it was. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
But my point is,
but you couldn't do much.
They couldn't just go on their phone and make money online.
Of course.
30 years ago, like, it didn't exist.
Only way to get rich is like be a gangster or have a construction company, like physical business. That's about it.
Yes. Or like have maybe a shop or something
like a physical business.
Sell some stuff.
Exactly.
Like a physical business, exactly.
Yeah.
So simply your parents don't understand and don't know about the opportunities that you have right now.
That's also a good point. So they kind of bring you, like, they kind of speak to you from the perspective of what they know. You get my point? Of what they've been raised to, but they don't understand that it's a completely different time. Bro, I think
And they will,
I was just gonna say, I think we went over quite a bit of stuff on this one. Do you have anything else? I think
this is mainly it, yeah.
So, like, realistically, I agree with you. Don't necessarily share that much and like tell your parents all these things when you're just starting out, like, oh, you're not going to university, because then you definitely get into arguments. It's like you're not making any money. Like, honestly, this sounds stupid.
Right? Yeah, you have no proof of concept.
You have no proof of concept, so this sounds But just
their counter arguments are always gonna be stronger when you're arguing.
That's
because
true.
they're your parents. They have this weird authority.
Yeah, they
raised you. Exactly. Yeah.
100%. So, like, kind of just work on this, right? Keep everything on a stable level, and then at one point when you start getting results, they're gonna notice that, and then at least they're gonna take it a lot more lightly. You're still gonna have an argument probably, but it's not gonna be like a legit big argument like the ones I've had, for example.
Yeah, the ones that literally break you and destroy your relationship that you have with your parents. Because that's literally retarded. That's the worst thing that you can do.
Thank you very much, bro.
Don't.
I appreciate it.
You're absolutely welcome. You can always count on me. Yeah. No, but for you, like, don't destroy the relationship that you have with your parents.
Agreed.
It's kind of perfect.
Agreed. I never did. Yeah. Like, at some parts it was definitely a bit hindered, but in the end, it all got together, right?
Kind of same thing. Yeah. Because I was super quiet. I didn't really talk to my parents nor to my sister. And now that I actually have the results, I have my proof of concept. I know what I want to do.
Yep.
The relationship is back. It's better than it has ever been. So
amazing, bro. So one last question I have for you, because I don't know how long we've been going on for, but I think it's almost an hour and a half.
90 minutes
at this point. Yeah, at this point. So The last question I have for you before we call this a day is, I know you were talking to me in Switzerland, you plan on doing this series on Instagram, which is your road to like 10K a month.
Yes, before my 20th birthday, yes.
Which is what, in 6 months?
In 6 months' time, yes. September.
In 6 months' time. Okay. So is that your next goal, 10K a month? And then also, just where do you see yourself in a few months or in a year?
I'll definitely say that yes, in 6 months'
Yep.
time. In 6 months' time, this is definitely one of my goals.
Okay,
Not the
10K
main
a
one,
month.
one of the main goals, right?
Okay.
Reaching $10 a month. And then the second goal is definitely moving out.
Moving out.
We talk
Okay.
about environment, we talk about having the right circle,
Yeah,
right?
we did.
And we are actually planning that. And I want to move to Sofia and start living with you, with one of your other mentees, Luke. And
Yep.
the reason I actually want to do it is, as I mentioned before, I want to have the right people around me, right?
100%.
And also, by the way, you're still my mentor. Right?
That's true.
It will be literally in-person mentorship,
Yep.
24/7.
That's true. I mean, look,
So,
just sorry for cutting you off, bro. Well, I don't think that
Yeah,
many
yeah.
people, I mean, probably some of them know if you're in the community, but one of my students recently moved to live in Sofia, in Bulgaria, in the city where I
Yeah.
live. I'm not at his place right now. I go there every day, but today I wanted to be home just for this interview. So it's a bit, no, it's actually not more peaceful at all, but I don't know. I just woke up and then just said, okay, let's do the interview. But anyway, so he moved here and then he's getting in-person mentorship, obviously. I also hired
Yeah.
him in my team to do some work for me, right? So he can obviously pay his rent, get food, all of that stuff. So guys, check out the free community, and there we do calls with him, like literally the Q&A calls. He's now on them, and then also Instagram, I post stories with him and all of that. But yeah, so you want to move with us. It's gonna be 3 people now.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The energy is going to be absolutely crazy. And I mean,
Completely, bro.
in-person mentorship is absolutely
Yep.
the best thing that I can do. I believe that, I actually believe that I will reach 10K. If I start living with you,
Yep.
it's impossible I don't reach $10,000 a month. It's absolutely impossible.
That's true. Because bro, remember when you went to Sofia in July last
Yeah.
year? You're making 0
Yeah. At the time,
at the time.
yeah, I lost my client.
Yeah, at that exact time, you were back at 0, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you came to Sofia. You spent like 4 or 5 days with me. We're going out to restaurants, stuff like that. And then literally a few weeks after the trip, you're 3.5K, and you hit one of your like highest months at that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it just shows that environment that people just speak to.
It's just the energy.
Yeah, it's just energy, exactly. It might not be the information, it's just the
Yeah.
energy. Like, for example, here, sometimes when I sit here by myself, I don't have anyone that will like push me
Yep.
harder to do more. I don't have anyone around me, right? But when I was actually, even in Switzerland, like I was looking at you and you are working, so I have to work. Like, I can't just slack. When you are working,
That's
I
true.
have to work.
That's true. It's the same thing right now with
It's like a
Luke.
healthy competition, I would say.
Like Luke is coming into the room and he like sees me super locked in, just like typing
Yeah.
typing something, like writing a post or something like that. And then he's like, oh fuck, and then he gets back to his room.
Yeah,
Sits
exactly.
back
That's
on-
what I'm saying.
Because he maybe wanted to lay on the couch. Maybe he just wanted to lay on the couch and like, relax for a bit, but he just goes back to work.
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah, exactly.
the energy, it's really the environment, and just having kind of people around you who are pushing you forward. So yeah, when you move, if you move here, I mean when, I would say, you're definitely hitting 10K a month, that's for sure. And I mean, I'm gonna make more money, Luke is gonna make more money just by default
Absolutely.
as well.
And for example, for you guys, the people who are actually listening,
Yep.
we understand that not some people just cannot leave everything and move out.
True.
Like, for some people, it's just not possible, and we try
True.
to understand that. So the other thing that you can do is simply join communities of like-minded people, of people that you would want to live with, of people that you would want to have around you all the time.
Yep.
Like for example, even your mentorship.
Yep.
When we are on the call or when I see daily messages in the WhatsApp chat, I'm like, alright, these people are working. Like, what am I doing? I have to work.
Exactly. That's why I always tell people, like, attend the calls. They're every single day, by the way. Every single day we have a call, and there's
on
every
the
single
calls,
day.
like, I see people are actually locked in. I see what people are doing.
Yep.
I see people are progressing. And then I have this urge that I have to do it as well. It's just this masculine urge.
100%.
You know?
And the best thing is gonna be, in the future, in the next probably like 3 months, when I release an inner circle group, and then guys, I'm not gonna reveal too much of this, and then we start having in-person events, 5-star hotels, yachts, everything. That's gonna be basically the next level of the mentorship. Obviously, you're gonna be making money to join that. I haven't like developed the full concept of exactly what's gonna happen.
It's just an idea.
But it's just an idea, but an idea that's definitely gonna happen. So guys, watch out for that as well. Make sure in the next few months you start making money. I mean, obviously, how do you start making money, Matthew, bro? How does that work? How?
You join, you learn, you get feedback, you
Yeah.
take action, you apply.
And realistically, three months is a super realistic time frame to get a first client and start making money. If you apply everything every
I
single
would
day.
say this, yes, if you get feedback, because if you look at me,
Of course,
like it took me 9 months.
No,
But that's
if you
because
don't have
I didn't have a client. I didn't have, sorry, not a client. I didn't get any feedback. I was making the same mistakes all over again. I wasn't changing everything. Like literally, don't get me wrong, for a period of 8 months, I was sending basically the same outreach template every single day. Like, don't get me wrong, right? So,
I mean,
if
when
I
you have
had
a mentor
back then,
I mean, when you have a mentor, obviously.
if I had a mentor back then, like, bro, I would be at 10k, 15k by now.
Probably more, yeah.
I just didn't understand it at the time, and obviously, like, I didn't have the money, right, as well.
True.
But
True.
Even now, sometimes, back in our early days, right?
Yep.
When I kind of didn't have money for the mentorship, I was like borrowing it from my friends.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I've had actually a lot of people, when they don't have the money and they see that this is realistically something that can change their life, there's always a way. Like, there's always a way. If you really want something, right? If you really want something,
you can get it.
You can get
it. If you try your best, it's impossible to lose.
Completely, right? There's always something you can do to get money, to invest in a mentorship, get feedback, and then make a lot more from that decision, right?
Maybe you can sell some of your old clothes or some furniture that you don't use, something to get the money. Even now, moment, like, do something. Try and do something. I literally used to borrow money from my friends to invest.
Yep.
And then obviously I paid it back. Obviously, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I started making money.
Exactly.
So, I understood from the very beginnings that I need to invest if I want to progress. That's
1,000%, bro. 1,000%. Do you have anything else for me for today?
Yeah, I actually haven't talked about the goals at all.
Wait, you haven't talked about what?
About the goals, about my goals. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Just barely touched that. So in 6 months, definitely reaching 10k, moving out, starting living with you, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
The third goal is I have a proof of generating about $280,000 for now via emails, just emails. So
Nice.
I definitely, in 6 months' time, I definitely want to get to $1 million in generated revenue, which I think it's definitely possible.
It's possible,
like,
100%.
I don't see it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So these are like 3 main goals, I would say. Maybe fourth one, getting a better physique. Because I've been doing calisthenics for a while. I unfortunately stopped because I broke my shoulder, and now I'm back. So I do a few poses, I would say, in calisthenics. And in 1 year, I mean, we both started content creation, right? So I think the goals might be something regarding that. So on YouTube, I would like to reach at least 10,000 followers.
Ooh,
If this is possible, 1 year, easy.
It is.
Easy. Consistency, easy.
Yeah.
When it comes to Instagram, I believe I can easily get to 50k. 50k, I think this is achievable.
Bro, okay. Okay.
50k followers, easy. In 1 year, I think this
Yeah.
is easy doable.
No, it is. Some people are like,
When it comes to, yeah.
some people just get 50k in like 3 months. I mean, obviously you
Yeah,
cannot
exactly.
expect that. You cannot expect that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. And when it comes to more like monetary goals, I think getting to 20k, 30k a month in 1 year's time,
In
achievable.
1 year's time.
Achievable. With
Possible.
content creation,
100%.
with what we have
Yeah.
coming, I think this is
Easy.
achievable. Easy.
Easy, I agree.
Easy.
I agree. Bro, I mean, these are some pretty good goals. There's a lot of people when you ask them to just say, oh yeah, I want to hit 10k. Bro, like you're at zero.
Yeah, but what's next?
Like you're at zero. What do you mean?
I mean,
you
also,
wanna...
yeah.
Everybody
I mean, also
has that
this-
goal. But like, give me
yeah.
some more, like, not just, oh, I want to make this money type of goal. Like, there's more important at the end of the day goals than that.
You know, also the one that I listed are just a bit of, they are not tangible, they're not physical. So what I mean by that is obviously I want to provide for my family. Like obviously I haven't talked about it at all, but this is why I make money in the first
I mean, that's why you want to make the money, of course. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's just
I
what
want
you're
to
going to
make-
use the money for. Yeah.
Yes. I want to make people's lives way easier. I just want to support them. I want to support my family, my parents,
Yep.
even my younger sister. So these are the goals. I definitely want to retire them in 1 year's time. I think easy. In Poland, easy. 2k, 3k a month is enough.
Yep.
And you can live a really, really good life.
Same here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's Eastern Europe, after all.
True.
So I'll say these are my goals. Retire my parents, get to around 30k a month, 10,000 followers,
Yep.
15k followers on Instagram. I think 4 main goals in 1 year's time. Easily achievable.
Amazing, bro. I genuinely wish you achieve all of them. Obviously, I'm going to be part of the journey as well, myself.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you very
it's been a great 90 minutes, probably more by this time.
I think we are getting close to 2 hours.
I think we're getting close to hours. So whoever actually is watching this part right now and stayed here, just well done. Right? If you actually sat to 2 hours of this interview, then you're probably realistically gonna make it in copywriting.
Yeah. You can actually drop a comment down below saying like fire.
Fire. Okay.
Fire. Drop fire in the comments if you actually watched the whole interview.
If you actually
If you
watched the whole
did,
interview.
congratulations, you are gonna make it.
Yeah, you're gonna make it with copywriting 1,000%.
Absolutely.
And bro, it's been a pleasure. It's definitely been a pleasure
Absolutely,
to have you on here. And I'll be looking forward to our next trip, which is officially for now Monaco in May, but who knows what's gonna happen in April? Who knows?
Beginning of April?
At the end of the day, you never know what's gonna happen in April. I'm just gonna decide to book plane tickets one day randomly and then just come to Poland or something. So we'll see. But guys, make sure you're following Matthew on Instagram, Matthew on YouTube, me on Instagram, me on
and on YouTube.
YouTube obviously because you
And
watch
you're actually in the free community
Yeah.
where you host weekly calls.
weekly Q&A calls. So you can hop on, you can
Yes.
ask me personally any questions
Any
that
question
you
that
have
you want.
about anything. Right? Well, I think that's it, bro. Again, pleasure to have you. I'll be talking to you soon.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, see you. Let's go.